And good morning, everybody. We're really pleased to be here sponsoring Cleantech Innovate. We're here to help innovators in the UK. And one of our key tasks, really, is to make sure that the help that we give is continued by society at large and turning those innovative businesses into scaling, growing businesses that return the value that we put in from the public purse back to society. So days like today, where we're helping connect innovators with investment, are a key part of our mission, really. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do and to try and give you a flavour of some of the opportunities that are out there at the moment, to give you a sense of how we help innovators and how we connect with the investment community more and more. So we are the UK's innovation agency, as Charlotte mentioned. What we're here to do is to help UK innovators to turn ideas and new technologies into commercial successes. That's really our mission. We really believe that staying competitive as an advanced economy in the UK requires fundamentally to be a successful innovation nation. So we don't think we can do the same things over and over again and come out of the next 10 years with a highly successful economy without being innovative. And that's where we fit, to try and drive the productivity and growth in the economy through innovation. We're about 10 years old now, actually. We had our birthday last year. And so we've become more and more confident that what we're doing is driving the right outcomes as we've been able to generate the right data. So over that 10 years, we've invested about 2.2 billion. You know, that's not insignificant. So that's something of the order of 40 quid per man, woman and child in this country over the last 10 years. It's a huge amount of money. But what we know is that we've returned about 16 billion of value added back to the economy. We know that we're creating about 8 jobs per company that we've funded. We know that we return about 7 to 1 of the public purse pound invested, and that we've created, 70,000 jobs through our support over the years. So we know that we're heading in the right direction, that we're doing the right things, and that we're continuing to improve that. And one of the ways that we really want to continue to improve that is to improve the links that we make between what we do and what the commercial investment world does. So again, days like today are very important to us. We pride ourselves on making sure that we fund right across the UK. So the chart on the left is where we have kind of regional outposts around the UK. And the 2 charts on the right are graphs of where our funding has gone. The one on the bottom right is kind of all of our funding over the last 10 years. So, clearly you see some peaks around some of the large centres in the UK, but also, a very broad spread right across the nation. And that's important because innovation is often a place-based activity. Quite often partners are locally based. Natural supply chains can often be locally based. So we really want to help to encourage innovation in a place-based manner as well as supporting the absolute best across the nation. So what we do, if you're an innovator out there, you might well be asking, what does Innovate UK do? How are they going to help me? Well, it's quite easy, I think, if we break it down into 2 broad categories. We help through funding and we help through connection. So we provide through our core funding grants and loans. In fact, we ran our first loans competition last year. I'll tell you a bit more about that later. We also are delivering large parts of the industrial strategy through the Challenge Fund, and more on that in a moment as well. We're integrating within UKRI, the UK Research and Innovation Organisation, which puts us and the research councils together under one umbrella, and in fact comes into formal being in about 2 weeks' time on the 1st of April. And we also deliver programmes across Whitehall. So an example is the Energy Catalyst, which you'll see some projects from today, which is funded by ourselves, but also by EPSRC, the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council, and Department for International Development, and BEIS, the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. But we know that funding alone is not going to do the job entirely. We have to do the connection piece as well. And indeed, in many cases, the connection piece is the most important piece, because we know that, especially in energy, it's almost impossible for an SME to take a new technology to market without making the right connections along the way, without partnering, finding the right expertise and the right investment. So this connection piece has become a larger part of our agenda over the last 10 years, and rightfully so. So we know that we have to connect people up to the right expertise so that they can find the right skills to put their innovation together in the right way. And a key part of that is our Catapult network. These are research centres that are there to help innovators to access the right expertise, the right testing facilities to take their innovations to market. We know that partners are really important. Quite often, partners from completely different parts of the economy, completely different kinds of organisations, can create really groundbreaking innovation when they come together to bring together groundbreaking digital technology with a groundbreaking technology in the cleantech sector, for example. And I think that's often where we operate at our best, with our reach right across the economy, to be able to put these things together and create something really different. Connection to lead customers is absolutely critical, especially in the clean tech area. You have to find that first lead customer who can help you prove your product in the real world with real people in real use cases. So we've started doing much more competitions without any money in them, where we're just helping lead customers articulate their challenges and then helping find the innovators who can match those challenges. Sounds simple, and it is kind of, but it's a really effective way of helping innovative businesses find lead customers for mutual benefit. And lastly, but not leastly, connections to finance. That's what today is all about. But as I said before, this is a critical part of our connection activity. We have to be able to help our innovators find the financial route forward to scaling and making commercial success out of their innovation. So let's think about us as Fund and Connect. And you haven't got it far wrong. But our outputs, what we're really trying to seek, are commercially driven, innovative UK businesses that are ready to scale up. We hope to achieve that as our outcome of our activity. A quick word on the industrial strategy, because that is becoming a much more key part of the landscape for us, and I expect for many of you as well. This is a massive part of new government policy in BEIS now, structured around these 5 foundations of ideas: people, infrastructure, the environment for business, and places, as being the kind of the ingredients for a successful industrial future. And then these 4 grand challenges on the right in the areas that the government sees as being really critical to the economy's success over the coming years: AI and data, the future of mobility, clean growth, which clearly is the one most relevant for today, and ageing society. So, we're taking this very much on board, and we'll be kind of aligning our own activities very largely to those 4 grand challenges across Innovate UK. And a key part of this industrial strategy for us certainly is this challenge fund, which is a very large, over 2 billion fund to drive industry-led but powered by research and collaboration innovation activity against specific challenges. So it's all about developing the UK industries that are fit for the future, Matthew, but driving progress in those new technologies and trying to stimulate the activity that can really enable the UK to lead the world in a number of different areas and sectors. Critically, this is not about just doing business as usual innovation funding. It's very specific, focused funding against a specific challenge and trying to drive specific economic outcomes as a result. Clear, measurable challenges, and needs clear industry buy-in delivering those outcomes for these challenges to really take effect. So you'll have seen some of the Wave 1 challenges that were announced last year. In fact, the three that are the big parts of that Wave 1 programme are the top three there. Medicines manufacturing. The next two, are very interesting for the clean tech world, I think. Robotics for a Safer World is all about robotics and artificial intelligence for taking humans out of very dangerous environments like nuclear decommissioning, like offshore activity in oil and gas, but also in offshore wind and other offshore renewables. So it's all about how to take people out of the equation and more efficiently and more safely operate in those environments. Batteries for a clean and flexible energy storage, that's the Faraday challenge, which you may well have heard of, incorporating a large research program called the Faraday Institute, and then scale-up activities for batteries for electric vehicles, which are largely based in Harwell and Warwick. The bottom three were smaller sets of activities, so probably focus on the top three, I would say, for Wave 1. But the exciting thing is that the Wave 2 of challenges are just coming into fruition now. These were all announced in the Industrial Strategy White Paper last autumn, but the funding announcements for them are just coming out at the moment. So there's 8 coming in Wave 2. The 3, again, for the clean tech world that are probably the most interesting are the Transforming Construction one, and that's really all about how do we turn the construction industry into a really productive manufacturing industry. Construction is notoriously unproductive at the moment and really hasn't seen any improvements over many, many years. In fact, somebody told me the other day, and don't quote me on this because I'm not entirely sure it's true, but somebody told me that the construction industry in the US today is less productive than it was in the 1950s. And I just could not believe that, but I suspect it might well be true. We often think of construction as a bit of a UK problem, but it's not, it's worldwide. The UK is the 4th most productive construction industry in the world, amazingly enough. So there's just a massive job to do here. But from a clean tech perspective, part of the challenge of construction is getting buildings built that actually perform as they were designed, from an energy perspective, but also from all of the other design criteria that they're designed to. So this is all about the digital aspects of design, construction, monitoring, turning construction into manufacturing, off-site manufacturing, and also creating energy positive buildings that perform as they're designed. The second one in transforming food production, third along on the right, on the top there. Again, that's all about trying to create a much more sustainable and productive agricultural industry using the latest precision agriculture techniques and technologies. And clearly that has a large emissions impact in our UK emissions at the moment. So being able to make that a much more productive from a resource point of view is a big win from our emissions as a UK, as the nation. And then the third one, energy revolution, down the bottom left, is all about trying to deliver cheaper and cleaner energy for people, for consumers, by optimizing the way that energy is integrated intelligently on a local basis. So how do we put all of the bits of the energy system together on a local basis in a much more intelligent way so that we reduce emissions, but we also reduce the cost of the system and the cost to consumers. So you'll be hearing more about these as those specific announcements come out over the next few weeks. And I do encourage you to engage with those if those are relevant to you. There will be significant innovation programs coming off the back of all of those Wave 2 challenges. And Wave 3, there's an expression of interest application competition open at the moment. So this is for the next wave, which will be in about a year's time. But we're starting that process of developing the challenges for Wave 3. To be clear, this is not for funding projects. This is for funding industries of the future. So this is about developing a challenge that will develop the industry of the future. However, we want to hear your ideas. We want to hear industry-led ideas for developing into Wave 3. It's open until the 18th of April. If you go to the Innovate UK current funding page, you'll find the application for it. Just a very quick word on catapults. I'm sure many of you are aware of our centres of expertise around the country. We've now got 9 different centres located all the way across the nation. In the energy space, Energy Systems Catapult in Birmingham and the Offshore Renewables Catapult up in Glasgow and Blyth up in North East England are the 2 key centres. Some amazing facilities, especially up at the Offshore Renewables Centre up in Blyth. If you're in those industries, then do engage with those catapults to find out how they can help you. Now, very briefly, just how we're working with the finance community and trying to improve our connections into that world for our innovators. We ran a pilot last year, which we call the Investment Accelerator, where we effectively co-funded with VC funding to run a competition for innovators in the clean growth space. And what we found was that it was a very effective way of trying to bring the VC community earlier into the innovation life cycle of many companies, trying to encourage them to look at companies at an earlier point in time in that innovation journey, but also a very effective way of attracting innovators who want to get more involved with financiers at an earlier stage. So we'll be publishing some results from that shortly, but we do see this as a very interesting way of doing business going forwards. We've also been trialling our innovation loans. So historically, we've only really given grants. But what we do want to do is to try and prepare businesses better for the real finance world that's out there, help them to not become too dependent on grants, because that's not healthy for anybody. So we ran an innovation loans competition at the back end of last year for innovation that was relatively ready for first deployment. And the results of those will be, those are in assessment at the moment, and we'll be making those results public shortly as well. But we hope to continue that. Okay, just really briefly before I finish on what we're doing here today. We've got about 25 Cleantech SMEs in our Innovation Hub, which is the room through the side there. Most of them were funded through 2 competitions, the 2017 Energy Game Changer, which was specifically about trying to bring new things into the energy world. So we actually said in that competition, anybody who's already working in energy is ineligible. You have to be from outside the sector. Or from our Energy Catalyst competition, which we've run various rounds of in partnership with other government colleagues. And in addition, about half of the pitchers today have had support from us at some point during their journey. Some very quick examples of some of the companies we've got there. Manic Ventures, who've created this world-first solution for powering your hot water system using domestic waste and everyday waste. So I think they've actually got one of these here today, I think. 1010 are trying to figure out renewable traction for railways. So developing systems for solar-powered traction. Legendary Games, so this is a gaming software company who have been working to try and understand how to help consumers to engage in their energy system better, and have come up with a way of gamifying energy, engaging with their communities locally, and competing with neighbours to reduce your bills and use your energy in different ways. It's a different approach to how we might help people engage with their energy system a bit more. Grid Edge is all about balancing supply and demand, using analytics and software to learn about how a building's energy profile works, and being able to intelligently dispatch the right assets, the right demand, the right storage at the right time to optimise the energy footprint of that building. And that's being trialled at Birmingham. So that's just a flavour for the kind of companies we've got out there. I really do encourage you to go and engage with them, to find out what they're about. Very often it's these unforeseen connections on days like this that can really create something different and something new. So please do engage and connect with as many as you can today. We're also here in force, so there's a number of the energy team here today. We've got a stand just out here. Do come and talk to us about how we can help you. We'll be very keen to have that conversation. So I guess it just remains for me to say good luck to all the pitchers today. Really look forward to hearing you, and have a wonderful day. Thanks very much.